All right. Mic check, mic check.
Hey everyone.
Let's see if they can hear us. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Hunters Lodge 9. This is Illusion Weaver.
It's Cuckoo Puffs. And by the way, Rain's correct. We're going to be pushing all the important details to Hunter's Lodge 10.
As usual. All right, let's get started. You guys ready? First, before we go, don't forget to equip your Builder QB. In exactly 1 hour from now, the snapshot is going to be made, and if you have any Builder QB equipped, then you might get some contest boxes. Let's first start talking a little bit about some upcoming events. Most people are already aware of this, but for new players, they might not be. So, in the Covenant World game, we will have a couple of events coming up very shortly. We will have Canada Day on July 1st. We will have the USA event on July 4th, and August 1st will be the El Salvador event. So these events are the only time in the year where you will be able to get either the blueprint and or the resources required for these three QBs here. So if you don't have them yet, this is your time to get them. So don't forget. Okay, so today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about, we're going to give an update on the development of Cubiverse. We're going to talk about our global launch strategy. We're going to show you some different examples of our new POI fill. We're going to talk about the small change in the design building system. We will talk about the three export methods Cubiverse will have. We will talk about an example of each of these three export methods. The first would be a vending machine structure. Second would be a crypto export terminal structure. The third would be a pizzeria structure. Then we will talk about the export cooldown system. We're going to talk about the country export table. We'll also talk a little bit about red boosted vaults, then the beta status, and then we will have our Q&A. So at the end, stick around. We'll have a small break, but after we come back from the break, we will do some Q&A. Let's talk about the global launch strategy first. So when we launch Cubiverse, it will be a full launch in USA, Canada, UK, El Salvador, Philippines, and Malaysia. And it will be a soft launch in the rest of the world, excluding a list of banned countries like North Korea and a bunch of others, obviously. So what is the difference between full launch and soft launch? So the full launch is a full game functionality. The soft launch, people in the soft launch country will be able to download the game and they will be able to start playing. There will be a full POI flow for them, but they will not have any leaderboards and they will be limited in events. But we will have a system in place that as soon as one of the soft launch countries reaches 100 daily active players, then we will spend some development effort there and create a unique custom launch event for that country. So it's up to the very early adopters in the new countries to start a little bit of traction there, get a little bit of a community going, and start building the Cubiverse. And once they get to a certain threshold, we will unlock all the potential for them there. All right, let's talk about the new POI fill. We already talked about this a little bit in the previous Hunter's Lodge, but so we're going to do a fill in almost every country on Earth, and the fill will be consistent of 80% white system vault, 20% blue system vaults. Also, all the UVs that were in Coin Hunt World, they will be transformed into white system vaults in the Cubiverse from day one. And all the hunter claimed green vaults are kept. So all the green vaults that are claimed by players, they will be the player-owned green vaults in the Cubiverse. And like I said, it will be a worldwide fill, except a few blocked countries. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. So I did a couple of before and after, so you can see the difference between what the density looked like in Coin Hunt World versus what the density looks like in Cubiverse. Here is an example. This is just some random super rural village in deep Nebraska. And as you can see in Coin Hunt World, there were only 2 or 3 system vaults, but at least the player there managed to create a bunch of user vaults. And then in Cubiverse, as you can see, there is a lot more variety and a much more density of vaults there. Let's give another example. Some town that's super rural. So in Coin Hunt World, the poor bastards only had 4 vaults there. And in Cubiverse, it's more than last time we said we're gonna double it, but actually we managed to make it much more than double. Now, one thing to keep in mind though is that this change is going to be especially easy to detect for people who live super rural. If you live in a dense city, you probably won't notice much of a difference, because in cities we did not have a density problem. In cities it was easy for us to find POIs to fill to place things. So what we fixed is the discrepancy between, what we mostly fixed is the discrepancy between rural and cities. Especially also in cities, in Coin Hunt World, a lot of players already built a ton of user vaults. So all of these user vaults are then going to be automatically system vaults. So cities will definitely not have a density issue at the launch of Cubiverse. So there was no problem there. But at least now people who are living in the middle of nowhere will be able to participate in events, etc.
Yep. Again, the goal is anybody who launches the app should see content immediately.
Yeah, even if you live in northern Alaska, you will have some vaults. All right. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the design chains. We communicated how it would look like to build a pizzeria structure, for example, in the last Hunter's Lodge. But after working more on it, we realized that it was a little bit too complicated, so we kind of simplified it a little bit. So this is a reiteration of what we previously communicated. So previous Hunter's Lodge, what we said is, how do you build a pizzeria restaurant? Well, you would have to first build a white base restaurant, which would be level 1. Then you would level it up to level 10. Then you would be able to build a blue base restaurant on top of it. Then you level that up to level 20, and then you can build a pizzeria on top of it. To give another example, what's the road to a coffee shop? You would build a white base coffee shop, level it up to level 10, build a blue base coffee shop, level it up to level 20, then you can build a coffee shop. So we decided to simplify this to the following system. Okay, here is how it works. So instead of having all these different base structures like a white base pizzeria, a white base coffee shop, that is all now the same structure. And since everybody's already very familiar with the term user vaults, we decided to go back to the term user vaults. So the road to any specialized structure is you build user vaults first, you level them up, and at a certain point, these user vaults can then be transformed into the specialized structures like vending machines, flower shops, pizzerias, etc., etc. So this is much simplified, and I think this is easier to understand. So this is how it works. Let's say day 1 Cubiverse launches. The first thing I will be able to do, I will be able to go out and I will be able to build. This is an icon here. This depicts that you have to build it. So I will have to build a white user vault, and it will be, once I finished building it, it will be level 1. So this will require me to go to the shop, buy a white user vault blueprint. It will require a stamp to get it activated. So I take my blueprint to a print shop, I stamp it. Now I have an activated blueprint. Then I take it to any tag. The white user vault will be compatible with any tag. So you don't have to worry. Whatever a tag it is, you can build it on. Then you go through the build process to get this white user vault built. Once it's finished building, now you have a level 1 user vault. Now, so the building process of the white user vault is done now. Now the next process is leveling it up. This is a different process, right? The building process is more like you would build a user vault. The level up process is more like leveling up your HQ. Similar, it's not the same. So then I level up my white user vault all the way to level 10. Once it reaches level 10, now that white user vault, now you can build a blue user vault on top of it. So then I would go to the shop, buy a blue user vault blueprint, go to the print shop, get it stamped. Now I go to my white UV level 10, and now I can build the blue UV level 1 on top of it. And then again, after it's fully built, now there is a leveling up process, and I take it all the way to level 10. Now, the specialized structures, they each will have a certain um, requirement in order to build. For example, a vending machine needs a white UV level 10. As soon as you have a white UV level 10, now we can replace that with a vending machine. But pizzeria needs a blue UV level 10. So you need to do a little bit more of building work in order to get to this stage. And then when you get at this stage, now we can build a pizzeria on top of it. And if this is complicated to you, don't worry about it. Once you, from inside the game, from a player's perspective, you will just see the next step ahead of you. So it's really not that complicated. It will be fairly easy. You just do the next thing that's required. All of these things, both the building and the leveling up, will have very easy to understand quest chains like we have in the event. So you just block after block after block, and you just go down the line until you finish the building process. Okay, what else are we going to talk about? Okay, let's talk about the 3 export methods. So the 3 export methods are, every player will be able to convert cubic coins to crystal keys, convert cubic coins to crypto, convert cubic coins to gift cards, depending on what country you are in and what device you're on, and we'll explain that later. But now let's take a look at an example of each of these 3. The first method is, okay, I want to turn my cubic coins into crystal keys. What structure do you need for that? We're going to use the vending machine for that. We already talked a little bit about this, so let me reiterate what the vending machine is and what it does. It will cost you 100 crystal keys to buy the blueprint for the vending machine. Then you take that blueprint to a print shop to get it stamped. It just requires 1 stamp from any country, doesn't matter. Then you take the stamped blueprint to either a post office or an ATM tag. Oh yeah, and by the way, we have preceded over 1 million tags so far in the active countries. So finding and a lot of them are post offices and ATMs. So I don't think there should be a problem for players to find a tag to start building. Okay, then once the whole building process is done, now you need to staff the vending machine with the QB. And the vending machine QB requirements are, it has to be a worker class, but it can be any element. Just so people might have forgotten, each QB will have a class and an element, right? So here you just need a worker class, doesn't matter what element. So this is, a lot of QBs fall in this, so you will have no problem finding a QB to staff this vending machine. And of course, the owner gets a 5% kickback. Right, and then what does it do? Well, last time we already explained the first part, and the first part is a vending machine can redeem gift codes. So how it works is you go to a vending machine, you enter a code into the screen, you pay a blue key, and the machine will spit out a box with a reward for you inside. This mechanism will allow us to do all sorts of contests, but would allow us also to give key codes to streamers and other content creators to reward viewerships. So I think the creative content creators should be super happy with this part. Now, vending machines now have a secondary functionality, and the secondary functionality is you can export cubic coins to crystal keys. And how that works is you go to a vending machine, you would pay 1 blue key, and that will allow you to convert 10,000 cubic coins to 100 crystal keys. But it will have a 1-week cooldown. I'll talk more about that later. So that is the vending machine. Okay, second export option is cubic coins to crypto. All right, let me introduce the crypto export terminal structure, CET. We are creating CETs for each of our exchange partners. So the one you're seeing here is the Orca AX CET, and Orca X is our partner for the entire continent of Latin America. So you will buy the blueprint from the shop for 1,000 crystal keys. You would get it to an advanced print shop to stamp it with 3 unique stamps. Then you can build it on any bank or ATM tag. This one also has a QB requirement, but it has to be the crypto class. This is like the Ethereum QB, the Bitcoin QB, Suku, etc. Veriblock, Doge too, I believe. Yeah, Doge, and it has any element, and the owner gets 5% key kickback. Okay, so what does it do? This one you can use to redeem to crypto. So you would go to a CET, and you would pay 1 green key to convert 10,000 cubic coins to $10 of crypto. Now, this is on demand, which means it's not like it used to be where every Tuesday there is an export. No, you can do it anytime you want. But as soon as you do it, the export cooldown gets activated. Also, you can choose what crypto you want to have. Now, this is depending on the list of what each exchange partner offers, but each exchange partner will offer a list of the tokens that they are willing to export into. So you will be just picking the list, pick the token you want, and you will get $10 of that token instantly. All right, let's talk about the last export mechanism, QB coins to gift cards. And here I'm going to give an example using the pizzeria structure. We are not only going to have pizza gift cards, so don't worry about that. This is just an example. We'll have a wide variety of structures that will give a wide variety of gift cards. But the pizzeria structure is going to be the first one. It's almost ready. So in order to build a pizzeria structure, the blueprint will cost you 1,000 crystal keys. You need 3 stamps to activate it. You can build it on any pizzeria tag. Well, remember, I actually should have included it. The build requirements are pizzeria tag plus level 10 blue UV. The QB requirement here the class doesn't matter, any class, but the element has to be wood. And owner gets 5% key kickback. So what does it do? We already talked a little bit about that in previous Hunters Lodges. The first part it does, it will offer the players a pizza quest. And the pizza quest is like the sushi quest. So you just go there and eat. And at the end of your meal, you get a reward box that could potentially drop unique QBs and the resources required to get those, to print those QBs. But the second option you'll have is the redeem to gift card. And the way that works is you would pay 1 green card to convert 10,000 cubic coins to a $10 gift card. Yeah, and it's on demand, so you can decide when you want to do it, but it will activate the cooldown, obviously. Right now, just to give you an example, these are the partners that we have lined up for the pizzerias. In the UK, people will be able to export to Pizza Hut gift cards. In USA, they will be able to export to California Pizza Kitchen gift cards. All right, let's talk about the export cooldown system. So any of these 3 will activate a 1-week export cooldown. So if you this week, if you use the crypto export, then you can't 1 day later and go and export the gift cards. You need to wait 7 days for the export cooldown to reset, and then you can use any of the other structures. However, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be adding additional ways to increase your export limits. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now let's take a look at what the current status is of all the different export partners in all the different regions. Okay, let's talk about iOS first, right? So in iOS right now, we will have vending machines in all the active countries. We will have no crypto export terminals on iOS because this is one of the requirements that we need in order to get Cubiverse approved on the App Store. Super important. And we have gift card structures ready to go for USA, Canada, and the UK, but not yet for El Salvador, Philippines, and Malaysia. Then for Android, we will have vending machines for all active countries. We will have crypto export terminals for all active countries except USA. Why except USA? Everybody noticed that lately the government has been cracking down very heavily on crypto in the USA. So for that reason, we are no longer comfortable of at this point in time to offer crypto exports in USA. And then the gift card structures is the same. So USA, Canada, and UK will have gift card structures. I mean, they will. They are ready right now. This is just a time snap to people. So we are constantly trying to find other partners to expand this table, and it's absolutely our intention to offer gift card structures in El Salvador, Philippines, and Malaysia. And we also know for a fact that eventually USA will get their stuff together, and we will be able to activate the crypto export terminals in the USA as well. Bill, you want to add something here?
Yeah, I mean, like Jeroen said, we're working on this stuff. So with even with iOS, we think there's a path to do crypto exports, at least outside the United States. So we're keeping our fingers crossed on it. But yeah, I mean, it's just no secret that in the United States, crypto has become a bad thing. So aside from the government cracking down on it, there's other consequences of supporting crypto in the U.S., like losing our bank, all of our retail partners, et cetera. So we had to make like a pretty hard choice here, but this is the choice that keeps the game moving forward.
Yep. Let's take a look at who we have lined up as crypto export partners. Okay, so these are our global crypto export partners. So right now, nobody yet for USA, but like Bill said, we are hoping to change that in the future. Canada is going to be Catalyx. Yeah. Europe is BitAU, Latin America is OrcaX, and for Asia, it's going to be Complex.
We're still looking for a partner in Africa, but we've got a little bit of time, I think, to go and find one.
Okay. Let's talk about red boosted vaults. So this is how red boosted vaults will work in Cubiverse. So once a week, a random green vault in each active country will turn into a red boosted vault. Now, the red boosted vaults, we want this to be more of a discovery mechanic. So you suddenly randomly will just bump into a red vault, and then you have a choice to make. Red vault is high risk, high reward. So at that point, you're going to say, am I going to gamble my red key and potentially get a crap load of cubic coins, or maybe I get it wrong and I lose my red key? So that's the choice you have to make, and you have to make it instantly because only one player can attempt to solve it. It's first come, first serve. So as soon as somebody attempts the red vault, doesn't matter if they succeed or if they fail. Once somebody attempts it, after that the vault goes back to green. Or if nobody found it or nobody dares to attempt it, then after 24 hours it reverts back to green. However, if somebody attempts it, a red vault can drop up to 180,000 cubic coins. In fact, that's actually a low number because this number does not yet incorporate the country modifier. So it will be more than that. So it's when you see one, you're going to need to ask yourself a question. Am I going to go for it? Yes or no? And yeah, one more thing. Also, red boosted vaults will drop something. It's called the export boost token. And with the export boost token, you can in essence reset the weekly export timer. So if you have an export boost token, you can export 2 times that week instead of 1.
Yep.
And you can choose whatever export you want to pick out of the 3. All right, let's talk a little bit about the beta status. The beta is coming along well, but it still has a lot of bugs. So it's currently still internal testing only. But the way things are looking, we are hoping to start adding the first external testers at the end of July. And the first focus of testing will be the build system. Okay, so if you want to be part of that beta, sign up, please. Here's a QR code that guides you to the sign up form. So I'll give you guys some time to scan that if you wanted to. But at the end of July, the first people should start getting an email that they are selected to come and test. Okay, then we're gonna announce Hunter's Lodge number 10. That is going to be a little over 1 month from now. Sunday, July 30, same time, we will have Hunter's Lodge 10. And now it's time for the Q&A. So we're gonna pause this slide here for about, let's take a little break, probably about 10 minutes. Give everybody some time to send in some questions, and then in about 10 minutes, we'll be back and answer the questions. All right, everybody, I'll see you in 10 minutes. All right, we are back. Hold on. Where is Bill?
Yes. Excellent.
Hey, Leppy.
Hello.
How many questions do we have?
I think 30, 37.
Oh, snap. Okay, let's get started then.
Yeah, let's get started. Reminder to everybody to put on your Builder QB before the snapshot. And we'll start with the first question from Despair. Are the country events going to be resources only again?
Yeah, so the country events are going to be identical to last year. Yeah, so yes.
Okay, moving on. Will more print shops be added, especially in areas where there's only one print shop?
The goal is to create a print shop structure so you can just go out and place them on appropriate tags.
Okay. And our next question is from Guinea Pig Fund. I need clarification. iOS users can only convert QB coins to gift cards, correct? What if I change phones to an Android phone? Will there be any issues transferring my QBverse account?
No, there is no issue swapping from iOS to Android. So if you live in the UK and you want to export a crypto, just swap to an Android. No problem.
Okay. And our next question is are we still limited on converting QB coins to crystal keys, or can we use our in game rewards to buy as many crystal keys as we desire?
In-game rewards.
Yeah,
Bill, you're
I
muted.
Your in-game reward is your QB coins, so you'll be able to convert QB coins to crystal keys.
okay. Our next question is will export amounts increase over time?
Yes, so one of the reasons why we start with the $10 a week is because we need to make sure that our export systems are working, that there's no bugs in there, obviously. So once the system gets more stable and we feel more comfortable how everything works, then over time we will introduce different mechanisms to increase the weekly export.
Okay, our next question from Adhunan is will the red vault spawn be totally random, or will it wait towards areas that people are actively playing in?
Totally random.
Okay. Our next question from Sten9ABF is for the boosted red vault, will there be a 5% kickback to the GUV owner?
Hold on, say that again.
So the green vaults, the
Mhm.
green user vaults turn into red vaults.
Oh, yes,
For
yes,
that
yes.
red vault, will there be a kickback?
Yes, absolutely. So if your green vault gets boosted to a red, you might have a nice key kickback that week.
Okay. Our next question is I thought I heard you mentioned gift cards will be for California Pizza Kitchen in the USA only as of now. Is that correct?
As of now, but that is literally just what we have lined up. We will obviously keep working on getting other brands on board in every
Yeah.
country.
So, so this will short circuit a couple of other questions that are coming up, but the idea is to constantly be launching brands. So, I mean, I have aggressive timelines for this stuff, but it'll be uh, limited by what the art team and what the development team can produce. But our gift card partner has literally like thousands of merchants that it can support in the United States and around the world. So we're just going through the list, picking a few from a couple of different categories and launching with them initially. And then the idea is that every week, every month, we'll be launching new structures that support new gift cards. And there's I don't think there's an end in sight in terms of how many new structures and brands we can support.
I'm going to do a little I saw a question pop up here. Oh no, sorry, wrong one. Excuse me. This one. Yes, there will be another round of green user vault sales very, 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 very soon.
Okay. Our next question is also about pizza. I see there are only two pizza partners right now. Will pizza structures be buildable on only those locations or on any pizzeria, but only pay out gift cards for those brands?
Okay, here is how that will work. So you will be, if you buy a pizzeria blueprint, you will be able to build a pizzeria on any pizzeria tag. However, we know if in our database we know if it's just a general mom and pop pizzeria or if it's a California Pizza Kitchen. If we know it's a California Pizza Kitchen, sorry, then the building when it's finished building will not look like a generic pizzeria. It would look like a branded CPK pizzeria structure, and it will offer the gift card for CPK. If you build it on a generic pizzeria, then it will look like the generic pizzeria structure, and it will not offer the CPK gift cards. But it will still offer the Pizza Quest, obviously.
Okay. Our next question is from Rubik's. With the new build system as outlined, does it indicate we'll also be able to continue upgrading to green and/or yellow user vaults? What kind of cost or time are we looking at for those level upgrades if they exist?
So definitely not yellow, but up to green, that's a possibility. But it will be have more requirements. Like I said, for example, the white can be built on any tag. So let's for example, if you want to build a green user vault, you will eventually be able to do that. But of course, it will need two things. It will need a blue user vault level 10 maxed out, and it will require a specific tag. We don't want green user vaults to just place willy-nilly. Green should be in good locations, like the middle of a park, so a town square, things like that.
Okay. Our next question is, will there be additional structures beyond pizza at launch, such as coffee, sushi, targets, etc., or will the expansion take place later?
We're working on that. Okay, our goal is to have as many structures ready to go at launch, but it's kind of too early to tell right now where we're going to be ending up at. So yeah, we want to have as many as possible. I don't know yet how many we will have.
And like we said, we want to fast follow, because one of the things, like, we love a lot of things about the metaverse that people have been building, but we want it to be vibrant. We want it to feel alive. And so when you're walking around the map, we really do want all the structures. We want things to not just look like boxes. We want them to have, like, we want it to be fun and exciting as you're walking around your neighborhood. So I think that will require lots of specialized structures.
Okay. Our next question I'm going to reword slightly because I think the person had a little misunderstanding. I think it's, are crypto export structures and banks in QBverse the same or similar structures, or will there be both CETs and banks that need different amounts of stamps and paint for both?
Yeah, the bank is more of a higher level structure than the CETs, and the banks will have additional functionality, but at this point we can't talk about that yet. So,
Okay.
but to start, people can start with the CETs.
Yeah, and this I think was a kind of direct address to some feedback we got from the players, which is bank structures would be seriously limited in some areas. So ATMs seem like an easier structure to build on if you want to export crypto.
Okay. Our next question is, at which steps in building a blue UV structure do we need stamps?
The very first step, so I mean, in blue UV, you would go to the shop, buy a blue UV blueprint, and then the next thing you do is stamp it. That's it.
Okay. Our next question is from Final Time. Are Discord communities going to be able to do giveaways similar to streamers? The Stock for Days community, who provides the iOS alerts, wants to conduct a giveaway.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody who has an audience, they can come talk to us, and we will be able to do contests with them and give codes away.
Okay.
We plan to be very generous with the codes, so that's definitely the plan.
Okay. Our next question is from Is This Allowed? And it's similar to a previous question. Does a boosted red vault deliver 50 keys to the green vault owner? And can an export boost coupon be sold on the auction house?
So the first part of the question is yes. So you could be super lucky. Let's say your green vault gets boosted to red, and then somebody finds it and they try to answer it. I know I'm wrong. Sorry. If they try to answer it and fail, it goes away. So, but in any case, any red key that goes in it, 5% of the red key goes back to the owner. And then the second part was the export boost tokens tradable on the auction house. I don't know that yet. We need to
Part
think
of me
about that.
says it would be really cool to do that. We'll have to think about that a little more.
Okay. Regarding the 1 week export cooldown, is that per structure or per account? If there's 3 export structures near me, can I export 3 times per week, or do I have to choose only 1 per week?
You have to choose.
Yeah, cooldowns are per account.
Okay. Next question from Coley. Where do you get elements for QBs, I think is what he means.
Yeah, so elements are assigned to the QB. So every unique QB type already has an element that's assigned to it. There's also a zodiac sign. The zodiac sign depends on when you printed the QB, but that's how those two attributes are affixed to the QB.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next question is, what does it take to level up a structure?
Leveling up a structure is very similar to leveling up your HQ, so it will require resources, mostly chromatic paint and resin. Yeah, fairly straightforward.
Okay. Our next question is more of a confirmation question. Do you acquire a white system vault and convert it into a user vault like we did with green claimed vaults?
No, no. So you would buy a white user vault blueprint, stamp it, take it to the tag, and start the building process.
Okay, thank you. Will there be a brewery structure?
Yeah, why not?
So, so Jeroen and I have been talking about a lot of these kinds of structures in the past. So, there's strict rules on how you can and can't advertise things like alcohol in the United States. So, it's one of the reasons that we collect your age. So there will be certain types of structures where either the brand is going to request it or our own internal rules will force it, where there will be content that can only be seen by people who are of certain ages. So if you wanted to advertise an alcohol brand or a nightclub or a bar or a brewery in the game, we can make it such that only people who are 21 and over can actually see it in the game, interact with it, and even the prizes. Like if you earn a brewery QB, someone who's under 21 can't even see it.
Okay.
Interesting. What if a business closes, shuts down, moves, or is destroyed?
We,
That yeah. When that happens, you will be able to abandon a structure. So let's say you build it up to a blue vault level 3, and then you need to move cities or something, right? So what you can do, you can abandon it, but instead of like blowing it up and having somebody else build it all the way up to blue vault level 3, it will go for local auction. So whoever is still in local there, they can just put a bid in, and after a certain auction period, it goes to the highest bid, and they take over from blue vault level 3.
Yeah, although I think the question is more about like, let's say there's a pizza shop and the pizza shop closes. Are we going to leave the pizza structure in the game? And I think the answer is we're probably going to leave it in the game. It's a little TBD, but especially in the restaurant business, it's really tough because restaurants do close and reopen all the time. So I think we're gonna, if you've spent the time and energy to build it up, we'll probably leave it as is,
Yeah.
with maybe like a cheaper way to convert it. If like, let's say it goes from a sushi restaurant to a, Italian restaurant or something.
Yeah, and there will be a system in the game where users can report things like, hey, this used to be a McDonald's, but now it's a Chipotle. You will be able to report that so we can make the adjustments if necessary.
Okay, this is another more of a confirmation question. If you sell your structure, will it retain its level? Or I guess if it goes up for auction is the real.
Oh, well, yeah, we just answered that. Yes, it
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
Okay. How many white user vaults can you own?
You will have a total of 10 slots for user vaults. Now, keep in mind, let's say I have all 10 of my slots filled out, and say 5 of them are white user vaults, 5 of them are blue user vaults, and then I take one of my maxed out level blue user vaults and I turn it into a flower shop. At that point, I have 9 UVs and one flower shop, which means that I have one UV slot freed up, in essence. I have a specialty structure and I have 9 UVs.
Okay. We have a question from John20D. Can you please make export boost tokens part of the referral rewards? Also, can you please provide a small number of tokens to your loyal UK players who've been waiting nearly 2 years for a withdrawal?
The
So
reason, yeah.
Ruben and I are just talking about that actually, about both of those things. So we're going to figure out a system, but just to set people's expectations. I think no one's going to be happy with the pace at which they can export, but we do want to give some relief to some of the older players who've stacked some crypto.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, good.
I wanted to add is that the idea of the tokens, the export boost tokens, is so we can also put them in rewards. So it's definitely like I really like the idea of having a certain reward for referrals where you can get export boost tokens when you reach certain milestones. And the same could be like if you reach top five in leaderboards, you could get tokens that have some kind of effect on your export limits.
Okay. If all existing user vaults turn into white system vaults, does that mean nobody owns the staked land we occupied for up to 2 years? Does everything reset at a specific time or just at a random time? And that's from Marlov.
No, so like I explained before, is the territory around your user vault. So even though your user vault that was a user vault in Coinbase vault is now a white system vault, the land around it in Cubiverse is still yours. So when you go into build mode, you will be able to visually see what land is yours, what land is occupied from other players, and what land is free for all neutral territory. So that will decide where you can build what. So for 2 months after launch of Cubiverse, all the territory around where your user vault used to be in Coinhunt world will be yours, meaning you are the first one to build anything on any tag that is in that territory that you control. If you don't do anything with your territory, then after 2 months it becomes available for anybody to build whatever they want to build on top of it.
Okay. I am going to skip the next question from George because it's asking if you can log into Android as an iOS user and use the export functionality. And we already answered that, and
Mhm.
the answer is yes. The next question is from Atrocities. You didn't mention fountains. Will they still need to be built on IRL fountain locations?
Yes, so fountains is definitely a structure that's coming, and that should be part of the launch of Cubiverse. And the fountains needs to be built on a fountain tag. And I think we already preceded a whole bunch of, we are working on preceding a whole bunch of fountain tags in the game. So yeah, that should be one of the structures at launch.
Okay. Our next question is from
So,
Fat Bike Jim. Oh,
before just because we didn't cover all the structures again, doesn't mean that those structures went away. We just want to show a couple of examples this time around to show how we've streamlined the construction process.
okay. Our next question is from Fat Bike Jim. Is Chill Wheels or Cycling Quest still on the roadmap?
Yes, and again, this question comes up every Hunter's Lodge, and I give the same answer. We need tags, user created tags for that to make that happen. So as soon as we have that in the game, we can create chill wheels.
Okay. Our next question is from Ash EP. Any chance the QB coin to Crystal Key purchase limit can be lifted so I can buy some green user vaults before they are gone? They're
That's
in the
weird.
UK, so they haven't run out of slots, I think.
They're talking about Coinant World probably.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That was got me confused. No, there is no plans to change that right now. I
Okay.
think in the UK there's still available green vaults to purchase.
I think they don't have any crystal keys.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yeah. Our next question is from Mom Loves You. Good session. I submitted my beta tester interest form already. Do I need to resubmit again using the QR code?
Ah, no. If you submitted it earlier, then you're good to go. No worries.
Our next question is from Qubit. Does the red boosted vault appear at a specific time once per week for 24 hours or at a random day of the week?
Totally random. So, I said a week, but it's gonna be like on average it's gonna be week. Sometimes it might spawn 4 days later, sometimes it might spawn 8 days later. So it's definitely very random and it's not gonna be predictable. So people are gonna be like, okay, in 20 minutes somewhere the red vault is gonna spawn. Let's find it. It's not gonna be like that.
Yeah, think of it more like happy hour, right? So it could spawn anytime within a 7-day window. And so that could mean it might be spawning almost 13 days, 14 days apart.
Yeah, we want this to be something a surprise, like you're just hunting and suddenly you see something on the horizon and say, "What's that?" And then you come closer, you say, "Oh my God, it's a boosted red vault." And then, right in that moment, you need to make a decision because if you wait, somebody else could also see it and could answer it before you do. So at that point, you need to make a decision: Am I going to go for it or am I not going to go for it?
Okay. Our next question is from L. At this time, do the USA players have any other confirmed gift card export options besides CPK?
We have a whole list, and it's much bigger than just CPK. It's just gonna depend on how fast can we roll out the different structures that are needed to get them. But we already have, I think, in Hunter's Lodge 7 or something, we had a list of a bunch of partners that were already ready to go. So we have way more than just CPK.
Yeah, I think um, the goal, or like some of the more popular ones we think are going to be like gas stations and coffee shops. So that's kind of been the priority.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next question is from Minel. Is there a plan for more than 4 ingredients in a recipe for a QB, or can a QB be used as an ingredient for another QB?
I think that should definitely be possible at some point.
Okay. Our next question is from Churg. Any way to export before user structures? Otherwise, it will be ages before the game and user structures are ready. Can other users add resin, etc., to my structures to help, like with user vaults?
Okay, so two parts in that. First of all, we are now looking into the possibility of us pre-placing crypto export terminals in different big cities, just like we did with the Sushi Quest, in order to have something there, so we don't have to wait until some people build it up. So, but that will not work for everybody, of course. But that's something we're looking into. Not 100% sure we can do that, yes or no, but that's currently being discussed. And then what was the second part?
Can other users add resin, etc., to my structures to help, like with user vaults?
Yeah, so absolutely. So not only can they help with the resin, you can also help speed up the build process of other player structures by adding your construction QBs to the construction team, which will significantly speed up the construction process, especially if you add a legendary architect to the mix.
Okay. Our next question is to reconfirm UVs will begin as white UVs for everyone. How many UVs will be permitted per person if there's still a limit? I think we actually kind of already answered this.
Yeah, it's 10,
So
10
UVs do
slots.
not begin as white UVs for everybody. They begin as system vaults. You have to purchase the white UVs, and there will be 10 UVs per person. Our next question is from Psycho808. Will all the blueprints mentioned today be unlimited?
No, each blueprint will have, I mean, the white UVs and blue UVs will be unlimited in the shop. There will be a shop for each country. Each country will have a specific supply of the specialized blueprints. So the UVs are unlimited. All the other ones will have a specific supply for each country's shop.
Thank you. And our last question is, why is there a cooldown for the structures?
Well, we need to, like I said earlier, we need to make sure that the whole system works and doesn't blow up in our face. And once we are feel more confident that everything works, everything is as it's supposed to be, then we will introduce different gameplay mechanics over time to allow people to increase the mechanic. And also when we introduce banks are obviously going to have a different export mechanic versus terminals.
And that was our last question. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you everybody.
All right.
See you in end of July for the next Hunter's Lodge.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye everybody.